I had another creepy roommate story time submission, and honestly, I don't know if this has anything to do with the paranormal or if her roommate was just extremely manipulative. So I'll let you decide. But this story came from someone named Ashley. That's her real name. She said I could use it. And then her roommate at the time's name was Indigo. 3 years ago, Ashley's grandmother died, and she inherited her house. The house was completely paid off. It was nothing crazy, nothing fancy. It was a 2 bed, 1 bath on a little bit of property. Ashley already lived in the area, so she moved into the house. She loved not having to pay rent or worry about that. She's living in the house for about a year. It's in the suburb of a major city, so there's a lot of people around, and she realizes she can make some extra money by getting a roommate to rent the spare bedroom. She said she was working at the time, but her job didn't allow her like a ton of extra money. Even though she didn't have to pay rent, she would have just liked to have some extra money for travel and things like that. So she posts in her local city's girls group that she's looking for a roommate. She just says something along the lines of like, preferably female. It's an older house, but I keep it really clean. Preferably someone who's quiet, who doesn't party too much. And this girl responds to her, and she's like, do you allow pets? And Ashley's like, well, I didn't really think about it, but yeah, sure, I have a fenced in yard as long as, the animal's well behaved. So her and this girl, whose name is Indigo, go back and forth a little bit. They arrange to meet. They get along fine. Indigo's like, yeah, I work from home. She's like, I don't drink, I don't party. I just like, I'm kind of looking for like a place to like lay my head at night and just like work quietly. I like have a quiet little life. And also I have this dog. He's my soul dog. She tells Ashley that he's really well behaved, that his name is Bear. Ashley's like, yeah, I like dogs. Like, what kind of dog is he? And she's like, oh, he's a German Shepherd mix. Like, I'll show you a picture. Shows him a picture. She said he looked like a gray German Shepherd. So Ashley lets Indigo and her dog Bear move in. She said she just went online, printed off some generic lease from some website, and had Indigo sign it. She said she didn't ask her for a deposit because Indigo knew that she owned the house and she felt wrong doing that. But she said that she made a mistake in not doing so. Indigo said that the reason that she moved out of her last place was because her old roommate was crazy. Ashley had some bad roommates in the past. She's like, oh yeah, I know how that can be. And Indigo and her like laugh about it. Indigo moves in and she brings with her a ton of stuff, like very distinct looking furniture. She's got a ton of dream catchers. She's got a ton of statues. And at this point, she tells Ashley that she's part Native American. Ashley's like, oh, that's cool. Then she brings in Bear, the dog. Bear is not a German Shepherd. Bear is a massive wolf dog hybrid. Right off the bat, he is crazy energetic. Indigo says, oh, he's just excited because we just were in the car. He loves the car. I'm going to put him in the yard while I finish bringing all my stuff in. So he's in the yard while they're unpacking the truck, and he is like running laps. He's being crazy. And at one point, Ashley's like, are you sure he's a German Shepherd? And Indigo's like, well, he's part wolf. And Ashley's like, oh, I didn't know that you could have a wolf. And Indigo's like, well, he was assigned to me. He's my soul dog. She assures Ashley that he is trained and he's just excited. So Ashley's like, okay, well, are you going to keep him crated when you're not home? And she's like, well, he's not crated. Like, he's really well behaved. And so Ashley's like, okay, we'll just see how it goes. That night they go to bed. Ashley's up all night because she can hear Bear scratching at the walls. Like, their 2 bedrooms shared a wall, which like her headboard was against. So she's concerned that Bear is causing damage to the house. So she gets up, she goes and knocks on Indigo's door. Indigo comes to the door and Bear is in the bed. She's like, hey, I heard him scratching at the wall. It sounds like, is he okay? And Indigo's like, I think you have mice or something in the walls. Like, he hears something, he's just going after it. But I promise he's really well trained. Ashley's like, there's no mice here. Like, I've had pest control come out. Like, there's no pests here. And Indigo's like, well, we'll figure it out tomorrow. Like, I'll just keep him in the bed with me tonight. That goes on for a few more days. Like, every night Ashley can hear Bear scratching at the walls. So finally she says, like, hey, you're going to have him crated. And Indigo kind of is a little bit rude to her. And she says, well, I think that you have mice in the walls. Like, you need to get an exterminator out here. So Ashley's like, okay, I'm going to humor her. So she calls an exterminator. They come out. They say, we cannot find any evidence of pests in the walls. She tells Indigo this. Indigo does not believe her. A couple days go by. Ashley comes home from work and finds a cat in the living room sitting on the couch. So she knocks on Indigo's door. She's like, hey, what's with this cat? Like, you told me you just had a dog. And Indigo's like, well, I told you have a mice problem and I don't want to live with pests in the house. So I went to the shelter and I adopted a cat. Ashley really didn't have an issue with cats either. And she's like, okay, if this is what's going to make her feel better, fine. They get along, except Bear and the cat don't get along. Bear is actually tormenting this cat. He's chasing her all over the house. She's like constantly hiding on top of the refrigerator, or she's hiding in Ashley's closet. So eventually Ashley's like, this has to stop. The cat is constantly stressed out. It's like peeing everywhere. So she basically tells Indigo, like, I'm just going to keep the cat in my room because clearly Bear is not getting along with her and he wants to eat her. And Indigo kind of jokes with her about it. She's like, oh, okay, well, at least you won't have mice in there. Now Ashley has this cat that she didn't really want, but she does kind of like her. The cat sleeps with her at night and there's really no problems. One day she comes home from work and finds that her door has been scratched and like opened, and Bear had gotten into her room and torn apart everything, including attacking the cat. Luckily the cat lived, but they had to bring it to the emergency vet. It was like a whole thing. So she tells Indigo, like, you need to crate Bear if he's going to continue living here, or he needs to like stay outside when you're not home. Indigo is like distraught over the idea of creating Bear. She's like, that's like putting a bird in a cage. Like, he needs to be free. He needs to let his soul roam. She also throws something in there about her culture and how animals shouldn't be kept in cages. She also says something about, like, when he was assigned to me, I promised that I would care for him the best that I could. something along those lines. And Ashley's like, I really don't know what to tell you. Like, you have to crate him. Like, I will buy the crate. So she orders this XXL dog crate. It gets delivered. It's like steel crate or metal crate, whatever. Indigo puts him in there that night, and then the next day when she's out. Ashley's home when she's out, but she can hear Bear like whining and barking and growling, and she just figures it's something that he's going to have to get used to because he's not used to being in a crate. He doesn't get used to it. He continues barking and whining every time he's in the crate until one day he actually bites through the bottom of the crate. Some metal gets lodged in his mouth. It's another emergency vet visit. So this is just becoming like this whole thing. Indigo is furious with Ashley. She's like, you made me get the crate. You made me crate him. That's why this happened. And Ashley does feel bad because she was the one that wanted the crate. So she helps her pay for the medical bills. Another month or so goes by. Indigo's been living at the house for about 3 months at this point when one day Ashley comes home and she finds yet another puppy. Indigo had brought another wolf hybrid puppy home. She had him like gated in the bathroom. The puppy had like pooped everywhere. So Ashley texts Indigo immediately. She's like, there's absolutely no way that we can have another animal here. Like, we already have 2. This is getting crazy. Indigo texts back. She's like, well, he was assigned to me too. His name is Wally. He has to stay. And she texts her again. She says, this is not up for debate in my house. Mind you, this is Ashley's house. Ashley starts looking at the lease that she had given Indigo to sign, and unfortunately in the generic lease that she gave her, there was nothing about animals, and she had signed a full year. But she said she had never been a landlord before, like she didn't know how this worked, so it was her mistake. She just figures she's going to have to deal with this, and she'll just ask Indigo to move out at the end of the lease. But Indigo continues to keep this puppy in the bathroom. Now keep in mind, this was only a 1-bathroom house, so anytime Ashley had to go in there, she would have to like step over poop and pee on the floor. She's basically ends up taking care of this dog too. Meanwhile, Bear is like running the show. He's constantly just out, and he starts getting aggressive with Ashley. Like anytime she comes out of her room in the morning, he jumps up, he growls at her, he kind of corners her, and she has to call Indigo to call him off. Ashley was dating this guy named Keegan through all of this, and one day Keegan's coming over because it's St. Patrick's Day. They're going to go out. So he's coming over, he's going to pick her up, and then they're going to all the bars. Before he gets there, Indigo tells Ashley, you know, he really doesn't like men, so I'm just going to put Bear outside while he's here. Keegan walks in. Ashley's like grabbing some stuff. He's standing around the counter, and Indigo's like, oh, I love St. Patrick's Day. Actually, both of my parents are from Ireland. Ashley's in her room and she overhears this, and she's like, hey, I thought you said you were part Native American. And Indigo's like, oh, I am. She's like, it's on one of the Irish sides. Like, I don't know. So her and Keegan exchange like a look because they're like, is this a thing? Like, we don't know. Either way, neither of them feel comfortable on like calling her out, but something just seemed off. So they leave. Keegan's like, that was weird. She's like, yeah, I know. She's like a little not right. They're out for a couple hours, and then Ashley gets a text from Indigo. And the text says, I know that you're plotting against me. Ashley shows Keegan. She's like, I don't know what this means. And he's like, maybe she's just like mad because she had to put Bear outside or something when I came over. They talk for a little bit, and then obviously Keegan drops her back off at her house. And then he texts her later, and he's like, hey, I think you should talk to Indigo because like, honestly, I didn't want to say anything, but like your house is really starting to smell. He's like, I don't really like being over there, but like it just smells like wet fur, wet dog, and like animal feces. Ashley said that she knew that it smelled in there, but she was just kind of used to it, and she didn't really realize like how bad it was. But the puppy was constantly in the bathroom. Bear was constantly running wild, and then she's got the cat's litter box in her room. So it was a lot. Long story short, Ashley brings this up to Indigo. Indigo obviously does not respond well, and then not long after that, she loses her job. Also, Hank came to say hi. She stops paying rent for an entire 2 months. Ashley covers her the first month. After Indigo promises she can pay her back the second month, she doesn't. Then Ashley finds out she's pregnant. Keegan's going to move in. They're going to raise the baby at the house. This is the perfect opportunity that they have to kick Indigo out. So she basically tells her, hey, you stop paying rent. I need you to move out. I'm having a baby. Indigo just says, okay. But that night, Ashley wakes up from the dead sleep to growling. She hears her door creak open, and then she sees Bear's silhouette standing in the doorway. She also sees Indigo's silhouette standing right behind Bear. Indigo is mumbling something to Bear, and all of a sudden Bear leaps up, jumps on the bed, and is like face to face with Ashley, has her cornered. He's growling, he's snarling, he's drooling all over her, and she's like, Indigo, call him off. Indigo is just muttering something in the dark to Bear. It's just words, it's like mumbling, it's nothing that Ashley recognizes. After what feels like an eternity, she finally says, Bear, and Bear snaps out of it and jumps off the bed and goes back out to the hallway. Ashley wakes up in the morning to Indigo already packing her stuff. She's like, I'm out of here. Enjoy your baby. She said the way she said it was like extremely spiteful. Indigo moves out. Ashley kept the cat in case you wondered, but when she was cleaning out Ashley's room, because that was going to be the nursery, she was dusting off like certain surfaces of the walls, and she found ropes of what she can only describe as Bear's hair on top of the windowsills and on top of the door frames all around the room. No idea what they were there for. Also in the closet, Indigo had left a bunch of empty tanks and cages. And although there were no animals in there, she does believe that Indigo had other animals in her closet at one point or another. She said she did go on to have a healthy baby girl. She doesn't know what Indigo's up to, and she hopes she never finds out. So spooky, scary, or just manipulative? I don't know. Keep these stories coming. I'll keep adding them to this playlist.